So losing a photograph, or maybe just an entire memory card, or having a memory card corrupt, is on every photographer's list of worries. But the good news is there are some measures, steps that you can take that are going to greatly reduce your chances of this ever happening to you. And that's what I want to give to you today. So let's jump straight into it. You need a workflow. You need a repeatable system of steps that you can do every single time you take photographs, every single time you bring them onto your computer, and every single time you go to back them up. Now, I have a 6-step system that I like to use that I think is going to ensure that you will not lose your images and that you will need them when you go down the road and your client says, oh, I lost my files, or you just want them for yourself and you want to archive your images for yourself and your family and your legacy in a way that is actually going to last and be safe. Right? So I'm going to outline for you 6 steps that you can take that are going to help that you back up your images properly and that you set yourself up for success when it comes to professionally saving and archiving your images. Now, step number 1 is that you always write on 2 memory cards if possible. You want this to happen in camera, and this is why I'm a huge proponent of professional camera bodies that have 2 memory card slots. And you want to make sure in your camera settings that you're actually writing to both those memory cards with the same file and not using it as once the first card is full, it starts to fill up the second card, but rather a redundancy. And you also want to make sure that you're shooting on camera raw on both of those cards. Step number 2, and this is one that I don't see a lot of photographers do, is that you actually want to separate those memory cards as soon as you are finished shooting. So what this means is you're going to leave one of the cards inside of your camera body, put that in your camera bag, and drive home. But the other card, I want you to put that inside of a camera case. I have a couple different cases that I recommend. I'll put them down below in the description section with links, but you put them in a safe case and then you put that on your person. That way, if you get rear-ended and your gear gets crushed, you're still okay. That way, if somebody literally steals your gear, your cards are arguably still going to be okay, depending on whether or not they know those cards are on you, which is pretty unlikely. So by separating those out, you are greatly reducing the chance of losing that card or having someone take them or something crazy happening. So you're separating out, and immediately you have that redundancy built in. Now, step number 3, that's not a 3. Step number 3 is to back up those cards immediately. So as soon as you're done taking these pictures, either for your clients or for yourself, doesn't matter, you're going to immediately back up those files. By getting into the habit of waiting, you're upping those chances that you're gonna maybe put the card somewhere that you're not gonna remember, or that you'd put your card down on your desk and then you might use that same card to go shoot another client or something like that. So get into the habit of immediately backing up those files as soon as you get home. And by the way, by backing them up, I mean put them onto some permanent storage like an external hard drive. I like Seagate hard drives. I will link some of my favorite hard drive options down below. Step number 4 is to create smart previews inside of Lightroom. Now, this is a really cool step because smart previews make it so that you actually don't need that source file when you go to edit those images. But what some people don't know is that it's also a redundancy, because if you have those smart preview files, you can export those images at up to 2,500 pixels on the long end, and you're going to be able to actually get a file. Now, it might not be the biggest, highest resolution image of that original file, but let's say that somehow all these files got destroyed or lost or corrupt. If you have the smart preview for your Lightroom catalog, you can still create a JPEG of some kind and export it. So it's just yet another layer of protection for you. Step number 5 is that you're going to duplicate wherever you've saved those files onto another hard drive. So you don't want to just have one hard drive that has everything for all of your clients or all of your personal images. Now, I recommend you do this at least once per month, if not on a daily basis, but you can get another hard drive, back everything up that you have, and then put that in a safe. A fireproof safe is a great way to make sure that you have a duplicate, it's on an external hard drive, and it's not very likely to get destroyed. And step number 6 is to back up all your files using a cloud software. So you can use Google Drive, Drobo, there's Backblaze, there's lots of companies. I'll link a couple of my favorites below. But essentially, the last layer to making sure that your files are super backed up and that you are so good to go is by making sure that you have a cloud version of all of these images, meaning that regardless of what happens to your home or your gear or the cards, it's in a cloud and that high resolution file is sitting on some Amazon server somewhere that you can grab it if you absolutely need it at a later date. So you want to back up the raw file, but you also want to make sure that you back up that high resolution JPEG after you've exported it out of Lightroom. So once you're finished working with all these files, you know, you have your external hard drive that you might be editing your files on, Lightroom. Once you have that high resolution file, you're also going to back that up to a cloud and to your external hard drives as well. So if you want to know how I export for high resolution JPEGs, I have a video all about that. I'm going to put that somewhere here on the screen, and I'll also link it down below. Super popular video here on YouTube. It's like one of my most watched videos now, but it's just all the settings that I use to get a high resolution JPEG for archiving, for galleries, for just saving for the long term. And it's just a great, simple video for you on export settings. For even more tools that you're going to need to go pro in your photography business, including my image backup workflow and best practices for Lightroom, including catalog and image naming, check out Hobby to Pro Toolkit. It's in my shop. It has everything that you're going to need, especially on the business back end, for you to confidently go pro in your photography business. Again, you can find that in the link section below. So this has been my 6-step process for never losing an image file again, so that you can be a professional and back up your images, save them in a way that you know with confidence it's always going to be there when you need it. I hope you learned something new here today. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye guys.